President Trump says he has a new plan for the border crisis.
We'll bring them to sanctuary city areas and let that particular area take care of it, whether it's a state or whatever it might be. They say we have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms.
Joining us now to discuss that is Michael Hancock, mayor of Denver, a sanctuary city itself. Mayor Hancock, thanks for joining us on New Day. What's your response to Donald Trump's
Glad to be with you. Well, you know what? We listened to it, we saw it, and I got to tell you, just as all of the rhetoric around our migrants at the border and immigrants in this country is very disappointing. Once again, the president has shown his hand that he uses this issue as a political issue as opposed to an issue of humanity, one in which we've all approached it as an issue of humanity and compassion. And it's unfortunate that he decides to use our migrants or the migrants of this world, particularly at our southern border, as political pawns.
But just to be clear, are you saying that you would accept any migrants who were bused to Denver, as mayors of Chicago and Philadelphia have said?
We've always said we will be a welcoming city for folks who are seeking asylum in our city. We recognize that many of these people, of course, are fleeing violence in their own countries. You know, I've had my city attorney down at the border to look at the crises, to have conversations, to better understand what's happening at the border. And she returned back and she shared with me the story of a man who, with his wife and 5 children, fled Honduras after paying renta for many years. They left their home, their 2 cars, their pets, their clothes, because they feared for their safety. And they recognized that it was either doing this amazing act to try to save his family or quite simply dying there in Honduras. And I got to tell you, folks, this is a question of humanity. It's a crisis in terms of what's going on in those countries, and people are seeking freedom and, quite frankly, safety. And we as a country, this is written into who we are as a nation, and we've got to find a way to more logistically and more intelligently and with more compassion address this issue.
There's that word, logistics. As a practical matter, do you have the capacity to handle the surge of migrants if they were bused by the administration up from the border into Denver?
Obviously, there's a scale. We got to know what this really means, and that's the one thing the president hasn't done. He's used this as a political threat, as a way to undermine really the words that we as mayors have used very sincerely and genuinely as we try to execute a city that is compassionate. And so we need to better understand what the president's talking about. But as a city, we've always said our values is to be open, inclusive, and welcoming of folks who are seeking asylum in our city, and to do everything we can to help them begin the process of assimilating into the United States of America. Okay. And so we would have to understand that. But logistically, this doesn't seem like a very tenable strategy on behalf of the White House. Well,
there's logistics and there's legality. President Trump says he has the legal right to do this. Now, apparently, the Council of the Department of Homeland Security has disagreed with the White House. Where do you come down, and what do you intend to do about it?
Well, you know, here's the reality. I'm grateful for those leaders in Homeland Security who actually stood up and said, Mr. President, not only is this logistically impossible, it is, we question the legality of this. And, you know, our city attorneys as well question the legality of this maneuver by the president. And in reality is what we encourage the president to do is to work with Congress to come up with a more sensible strategy in dealing with the migrants at the border, as well as immigrants in our country. Stop this rhetoric. We're losing time, and these individuals, quite frankly, find their lives hanging in the balance. This doesn't make any sense. It defies leadership is the real reality here. And as mayors we can't get away with this gamemanship that the president decides he wants to play with people's lives. We need the president, we need Congress to act a little more responsibly on this issue so that people don't have their lives hanging in balance, and cities are sitting there questioning what's really going to happen.
All right. Mayor Hancock of Denver, thank you very much for joining us on New Day.